Hi, everyone. My name is Katie. I am at the Seacoast Science Center in Rye, New Hampshire. We will get started in just a second. I just wanted to let everyone know that there is a comment section here in StreamYard. That's who we're using to broadcast to today. There's a little bit of a delay, but if you at any point have any questions or wanted to ask for clarification on anything, please let me know. I will just leave a little hello, hi comment for right now, but throughout the broadcast, I will be checking in and making sure that you guys have all of your questions answered. So just before we get started with our content, if you could write me a little note saying that you can hear me, that you can see me, that would be great, so that I know that everyone's set on the other end. It's a little odd not having you guys right here in the studio. So there, I just left you guys a little note saying hi. Alrighty, so we are going to be chatting today about our very different branch of our organization that we have here. We are primarily a nature center and aquarium. We have kiddos from all over the Seacoast area coming to visit us, and there's quite a lot to see and do here at Odiorn State Park in Rye, New Hampshire. But there is also a very interesting piece of the work that we do that involves some rescue and rehabilitation of wildlife, of wild animals that we would see in our seacoast. And those include marine mammals. So we have a branch of our organization called the Marine Mammal Rescue. Hi, Becca. I hope everyone can hear and see okay. We have a branch of our organization called the Marine Mammal Rescue. And what they do is they respond to calls up and down the coast of New Hampshire, a little bit up into Maine, and a little bit down into Massachusetts as well. Calls regarding marine mammals. And what they'll do is they'll assess and make sure that animal is either doing okay or not, needs help or not. And then they will transport as well to a rehabilitation center if needed. So a hospital for wild animals. So I know you guys are in high school, and I wanted to quickly go through what we mean when we define marine mammals. So marine mammals are a type of mammal that is specifically living in the ocean. Marine means ocean. So this does not include other aquatic mammals. So animals living in fresh water, like maybe a beaver or a muskrat, something like that. Those would be not under our purview. Marine mammals are protected under different legislation, different laws. Because the ocean spans multiple states. So there's a federal jurisdiction there. And so to help marine mammals, you have to have all sorts of extra permitting and licensing. So marine mammals are usually treated a little differently than mammals that live on land, in ponds and lakes, things like that. And a lot of these mammals are also migratory, so they might be coming to our area from other states, other countries. So there's a lot of international issues at play too. So before we get started, I'm just going to overlay this real quick and then have you guys chat and discuss what are 5 characteristics that marine mammals share. You can think about the characteristics that all mammals share. That's a really good place to start. There are a few other things that make marine mammals different than terrestrial mammals or mammals that live on land. But feel free to, in the comment section, just type in your thoughts about what 5 characteristics marine mammals have in common. There's a little preview of one of our marine mammals there. And when we're talking about marine mammal rescue, we are including all different kinds of marine mammals in this rescue team. But the ones that we normally see the most are harbor seals. So that guy that was on the screen there. So just leave your thoughts in the comments about what you think some of the common features of our marine mammals are, oh, they eat meat. That's a really good guess. There are, I can think of one group of marine mammals that is actually vegetarian. So diet is not usually something that we think about when we talk about mammals versus non-mammals, just like there are carnivorous reptiles and herbivorous reptiles. So there are carnivores that are reptiles and herbivores that are reptiles. There are also carnivores that are mammals and herbivores that are mammals. So mammals is a great term to break down and understand. The term mammal actually refers to something really important on the body of a mammal that they use to feed their young. So that'll give you guys a little hint about what the basic definition of a mammal is. So any other thoughts, you can type them into the comments, and and we can chat a little bit about what our marine mammals are. What's funny is a lot of people forget some of our marine mammals, or they don't necessarily consider them to be ocean animals because they don't see them swimming too often. But we will start in just a sec breaking down some of those marine mammals. So I'll give you guys some hints. So when I talk about mammals, usually I'll call them our furry friends or fuzzy friends, cuddly, cute. That's usually what we say about our mammals, because they are covered in fur. So that's a really good place to start. A lot of mammals have fur or hair covering their bodies. Very good. Nice job. So our mammals have mammary glands. Nice. So that is actually where the term mammal comes from, is the glands that produce milk. So feeding their young milk is really the most important part of what makes a mammal a mammal. And this is because all of the other things that we refer to mammals with, that we generalize are mammal traits. Some weirdo mammals don't have them. So there are some types of dolphins that no longer have much hair at all. The other thing that our mammals do, they give live birth to their young. So they don't lay eggs like a bird or a reptile might. So they give live birth to their young. And that's always one that has a fun exclusion to it, the platypus. But even our platypus do feed their young milk. So those mammary glands are really the most important thing. There's also that the important thing for they get food from the ocean. Yeah, so marine mammals are definitely going to be hunting and active in the ocean. They're getting food from the ocean. Very good. They are warm-blooded, so they are able to keep themselves warm. They create their own internal body heat. So this is different from like a reptile who would not be able to do that. They would just be whatever temperature it is outside on the inside of their bodies. And so marine mammals are able to go into really cold parts of the ocean because they have very either thick layers of blubber covering their bodies that keep them warm, or thick, dense fur that keeps them warm. So they're able to produce their own body heat. Whereas something like a sea turtle is not able to go into waters that are too cold. I don't know if you guys remember the story from last year where there was that cold snap in Texas, and the Navy had to go rescue a bunch of green sea turtles because they got caught in the cold and they couldn't move anymore. They couldn't get themselves to warmer water. So reptiles are not able to keep themselves warm like mammals. The last and most important thing about our marine mammals is that they do breathe air. So just like we breathe air, mammals in the ocean do as well. And this is because we're more closely related to a mammal or like a whale than we are to a fish. So a fish is able to breathe oxygen from the water. They have to breathe in the water, and mammals breathe air. And this means that they have to do things like come up to the surface in order to get oxygen. So some marine mammals will have a blowhole on the top of their head, or they'll bob up and down in the water like you saw our friend doing in this picture. to breathe through their nostrils. So this is something that makes mammals very different from fish and other animals that are usually found in the water, is that they have to breathe air. Both animals are using oxygen, but they get oxygen out of the air, whereas a fish can get it from the water using its gills. So those are some really important things to consider. Some of the different types of marine mammals that we see in our area include the seal family. So we do have a few different types of seals that are found in our area, and some members of the cetacean or whale family. So we don't typically see polar bears down this way. Polar bears are considered a marine mammal. We don't usually get to see those. We don't have a lot of sea otters in our neck of the woods. We don't see many sea lions or walruses, but we do get seals and whales. So when we talk about the Marine Mammal Rescue, that program is really focused on seals and whales. And so the seal family, the ones that we usually see the most, we have 4 different types of seals that we see the most in our neck of the woods. I'll show you guys a cute little video of probably the most common. Since we started doing our Marine Mammal Rescue, we have taken in over 1,000 different seals, and about 700 cases were this species. So show you guys this. This is a harbor seal pup. Most of the animals that we are responding to are pups. Let me know if you guys can still hear me. I'm not sure if this video will go over my audio. So cute. Oh my goodness. So this is a harbor seal pup. You don't look too good, bud. This is a juvenile harbor seal, like a younger one. There is in this picture a great example of one of our seal resting signs. These are harbor seals along our coast. So we see lots and lots of harbor seals, especially in the summer months. I know, they're so cute. Okay, so those were some of our harbor seals. I'm not sure if you guys were able to hear me while the video was going. I'm not sure if it allowed my audio to still work, but we see mostly harbor seals. They are very cute, very sweet. Yay, I'm glad you guys can hear me. Wonderful. Don't have to repeat all of that. They are very sweet. They, for the most part, we are seeing harbor seal pups when we respond to calls. The important thing about yeah, it is Hampton Beach. Nice job. The important thing that our seals have to do is breathe oxygen. And so if they want to rest or nap or get away, recuperate after, it looks like that guy might have been attacked by something, that middle one. If they want to recuperate or rest, they really need to go to the beach to do that. They can't stay in the water because it takes a lot of energy to constantly be swimming up and down to get oxygen from the air. So many seals, like the last scene that you saw at Hampton Beach, of all of those seals on the rocks, spend a good portion of their day just resting out in the sun. They warm up, they rest, they breathe. Most seals will spend a lot of time hunting and then a lot of time resting. And that rest is really important. And that's when people tend to get confused, is when they see a baby seal like that first one up on the beach, they think there's something wrong with it because they must need to be in the water. They're a seal. But truly, especially with young seals, they are supposed to be on land. The reason for this is that a mama seal, a mother seal, is out hunting for a good portion of the day, and she needs to be able to catch lots of fish to keep her weight up, to make enough milk for her baby. And the baby seal is not going to be able to keep up with her while she's swimming around in the ocean. And so for that little baby, it's much safer to have him stay on the beach. And what mama seal usually does is leave that baby in an area that has lots of rocks where it blends in nicely. And she'll come back a few times a day to nurse that baby. But for the most part, he's staying well camouflaged on the beach. And that is actually really normal. So we get lots of calls from the Marine Mammal Rescue hotline that say, I found a baby seal on the beach. Is that okay? And so our job is to reassure that member of the public that this very well might be normal. And then also to go make sure that that seal pup is not, there too long. If it's not there and it's not being taken care of for too long, it might be a true orphan, but most of the time they're not there when we go to check on them a day later. What do seals eat, Becca? Seals are actually fantastic predators. I'll show you guys a video of just seeing how fierce little seals can be. But they are fantastic predators. They have very large canine teeth, so their teeth look a lot like a dog's teeth. They eat mostly fish. They're excellent hunters of fish. And all of that fat from those fish help to keep their blubber up and to make their milk very, very fatty for their babies. So this is a gray seal pup and some rocks. He's supposed to be there. I'm not sure if you can. Oh, yeah. So you can see those little teeth that he's showing off. He is not happy. So this is a gray seal pup. This is another type of species that we see. The audio that I don't know if you guys could hear, but he was growling quite a bit in that clip. I'm not sure if I can hear. Maybe if I mute my mic, you guys will be able to hear that. So hold on just a sec. I don't think that video is going to make sound, but there's a lot of growling coming from that little guy. And you can see his teeth in that clip as well. Gray seals, along with other seals, are fantastic predators. So I know he's so cute. So gray seal pups especially have fantastic camouflage to blend in with those rocks because their mothers usually do leave them on a rocky beach. So tons of beautiful camouflage there. Alrighty. So we have harbor seals and gray seals are probably the most common. We also see hooded seals. Hooded seals are usually only seen in the winter months. I have one video of a hooded seal that I can show you guys. Okay, so you guys definitely heard that there was a lot of growling. I don't think that video had any audio, that last one, but this one definitely did. You could hear that growling. So what a lot of people don't know is that seals are pretty aggressive, pretty feisty, especially when they're faced with a human. We look like big, scary predators to them. So that was a hooded seal. It's a excuse me, sorry. It's a species of seal that we usually only see in the winter months. So you notice there was some snow there. He was definitely out of place. He had wandered off. The really amazing thing about hooded seals is they live all the way up in the Arctic most of the year, and then they'll come down here in the winter when it gets too cold up there for them. So that's kind of nutty that we're there, Florida. And that is when they have their babies. What's really cool about hooded seal babies is that they are actually able to wean off of their mother's milk. So they're nursing for a week and then they're on their own. That's it. A week. They have a week to build up all of their fat stores that they need from mom's milk, and then they are on their own, good to go. It's crazy. The last type of seal that we see in our area, these last two clips are really good examples of when we would be assisting a seal that needed to get back to the ocean. They have wandered too far from where their mom left them. They got confused. They got turned around. So these two videos are examples when we just were relocating them back to the ocean. That's something that happens frequently. So I'll show you guys. So something you can see from that video is that these seals do not move very well on land. They are great at resting on land, but they are not very mobile. They cannot go up on their front legs the way that sea lions can. So if you're at like an aquarium and you see a sea lion doing like tricks and stuff, they are very good at going up on their front flippers and doing tricks and things like that. Seals are actually very clumsy on land. They're very fast in the water. They're shaped like a torpedo so that they can cut through the water really quickly and go after fish. But on land, they're a little bit clumsy. So they kind of just do the worm, like you saw in that video. And so he obviously was not where he was supposed to be. That video came from one of the people working at that construction site. And so there was like music playing. It was obviously not a good spot for that seal to be. So that's something that we will help with, is just relocating seals that have gone away from the beach. Becca, do they have an alpha or a leader? So there are in most types of seals, sea lions, and walruses, there is usually it's a harem structure. So similar to a lion, there will be a male and then lots of females. And that male will have the ability to mate with those females, and then other males will go off on their own and form their own groups, or they'll fight to establish dominance. So if you think of like a walrus with the big tusks, that is something that that is used to fight and kind of show off and determine who is going to be able to lead that harem. With seals, many times those groups become really fluid. So there isn't a lot of, like with walruses, there isn't a lot of that, but there is still some. Males do still fight over females. Just in their groups tend to be like a little bit larger, more males intermixed with more females. So there is still some of that, but just not as dramatic as with walruses. So good question. These animals that we've been talking about so far, the seals that we see, are all in a family called the pinnipeds. Pinnipeds is a word for the family that includes seals, sea lions, walruses, and it really just means flipper foot. So we will talk about, pinnipeds and what that means, but it just means flipper foot. And pinnipeds, like seals, are really unique in the oceans in the way that they hunt, because they are like their feet are still very much shaped like normal human feet, but they have those flippers on top of them. It's really interesting when you see the skeleton of a pinniped. They do look like their feet have just grown some flippers over top of them. It's very cool. They're very closely related to mammals that are on land. The other group that we sometimes see and usually we only see are these animals when they have been either really, really severely ill and have washed up to shore, or have passed away and have washed up to shore. The other group of animals that we see are whales. And we call this family, the whale family, we call them cetaceans. Cetacean just means big, giant sea monster. And it's a Greek word that was used to talk about generally all large sea creatures before the taxonomic system kind of broke down. Okay, these ones are whales, these ones are sharks, these ones are squid. So cetacean is just a Greek word from when people would just see anything in the ocean and say, oh my God, it's a giant sea monster. Which when you look at like a big blue whale, that's obviously going to be humongous, and you might not have the words to describe it if you are living, even like a few hundred years ago. So the cetaceans are the family that include our whales. We do see whales coming to the beach, but usually they have passed away. For example, there was a North Atlantic right whale that washed up in Rye or Hampton in the last few years. That was really sad. We see humpbacks occasionally as well. Minke whales is another type. And then the ones that we usually can help and get to a rehabilitation facility or hospital, the ones that we're able to help are usually our dolphins. So we do see common dolphins and Atlantic white-sided dolphins. And then harbor porpoises, which are like really teeny tiny half-sized dolphins, and they're very sweet. Sometimes they do wash up on sea. 90% of all of the cases that we are called to are seals, because seals are usually on the beach normally. They are usually there for a normal reason, a perfectly safe reason. If for some reason a seal has been orphaned or abandoned, these are the most frequent cases that we see, is that we take those seals to a rehabilitation station. They get raised up, they get bigger, and then they go back out into the wild. So I'm going to show you guys kind of the process. We have a video of the process of what we do when we take in a baby seal. This usually happens because mom either has not come back, not returned to that baby. Maybe she got attacked by another animal in the ocean or hit by a boat, or if a lot of people are around that baby, if have been a lot of folks trying to take pictures of it, or dogs sniffing it, or just it's in a high traffic area, mom might not think that it's safe to come back to that baby. So sometimes we do see baby seals orphaned. And we can usually help those guys. We can get them to a hospital and they can kind of be raised in like a seal neonatal unit. But before we send them, we have a little process. So I'll show you guys. These are our marine mammal rescue team in action. They are giving this seal fluids. They're taking measurements of its body. They're giving it some food. And it might look like they're manhandling it a little bit, but these seals are very slippery and very strong, and also do have those sharp teeth. So they're just trying to keep them kind of contained so that they can do what they need to do fast and then move on. So I'll show you guys a video of that process.
That looks right about it.
Perfect.
I just heard the sounds, so now listening to
Yep.
perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, what is that? I know what it is. Can't get.
How do you go back in?
Like, what happened?
So that was a video of a gray seal, what we call a weanling. So it's not a baby anymore. It is a seal pup that has been weaned off of its mother's milk. It is starting to go off on its own. It's starting to hunt for its own food. And this is when we see a lot of seal pups struggling, when they are just kind of off on their own and having a hard time finding food by themselves. So he was really underweight. He was very skinny. It's hard to tell when they're handling them, but seal pups should be really fat and round and torpedo shaped. And if you at any point see like fat rolls, or if they look a little skinny, or if you can see any hip bones or anything, that's a bad sign. That means that they really need some more nutrition. And so they were just kind of kneeling over them to keep them still. They weren't really sitting on them with any sort of force, but they were taking measurements to see how long that seal was. They were also giving them nutrition through a tube. So they were tube feeding that little seal to give it some a boost so that it would be okay on the car ride to the rehabilitation center, because those places that take in our seals are usually maybe an hour or two away from us. So we want to make sure that they are okay. They have enough fluids and nutrition on board to make it to where they need to go. Just really quickly before I start this next slate of videos, I would recommend, if you guys have questions, collecting them and typing them in now, so that when we're done with this next phase of videos, I can answer those for you. They'll be loaded up in the comment section. So collect your questions, think about that while we're discussing this next topic. So when a young little weanling goes to a rehabilitation center, they will get lots of food, lots of fish. They'll basically just be kept for maybe a few months, not long at all, and have weight put on them so that they can go back out into the wild and be okay. So I'm going to just show you guys a little video. I'm probably going to not show you the whole thing because it is a little bit long, but a video of how we, when they're in care, we like to put a tag on them so that when we release them, we can track them. So we have a pretty cool tagging video here. And remember, just leave your questions. So, so that was a video of a patient from last winter, and they had a tracking tag put on them, and the audio for the full video, it goes on to explain this, but I can tell you guys about that. So the tracker is glued to the fur on the seal, and it will gradually, it'll break down over time. It takes quite a long time for that to happen. So while it's glued to the seal, we get some really good, information about where that seal is going. And as of this summer, we still are seeing that seal coming up to the surface. The interesting thing about the way that the tag works is that it does not transmit to the satellite that it's hooked up to. It does not transmit underwater. So when we see the seal surface, we will get a reading from that seal. And the reason that's good is because if this seal gets eaten by a shark or any other predator, just passes away and goes to the bottom of the ocean, if he does not come up to the surface alive, we're not going to get that information. And so when we see his little GPS signal pop up, we know that he's alive, he's doing good. And so we've seen him throughout the last few months popping up along the coast, especially here in New Hampshire. We also will see our harbor seals going up further along the coast into Maine. So he's made his way up to Maine for the summer, and then he'll come back down here. And then we have another release video for you guys to show you guys. So here's one more little seal release video. Okay, so that was another really cute release video. The cool thing about that video is it kind of shows you after being in a rehabilitation center, a hospital where they just are in pools for a month or so. They are often a little bit nervous about the ocean. So you can see him kind of looking back at the rescuers being like, this doesn't look too fun. The waves sometimes startle him a little bit, but then once he gets in the water and he gets going, you can see him really cooking. So that was a little gray seal pup. And just gray seals are very large when they're adults, but when they're young, they're still pretty sweet. They can get up to like 8 feet long though. So they are certainly not to be contended with. Will the tag fall off and how long will it take? Yeah, so the tag does fall off eventually. It can take, it's hard to predict how long it will take. If it's not, the fur on a seal is really dense, so it takes a while for them to shed all of the fur that the glue is attached to. So it could take a few years for that tag to fall off, but eventually all of the fur that tag is glued to will shed and it will fall off. They do try to get it as close to the skin as possible, but they don't want to glue it obviously to the skin. So it can take a few years. And then eventually it will fall off. Yes. Alrighty. So if anyone has any questions for me, please let me know. I would love to answer any questions that you guys have about our marine mammals. We also have another video we can watch of some of the some of the types of seals that we see, some of the cases that we see. It's often hard to predict or to tell if a seal is healthy or not. And something that we look for in healthy seals is a really upright posture. We look for something called banana pose, which is when the head and the tail of the seal are both curved up and they're alert, they're responsive. They might even be growling if you're too close. Those are all signs that a seal is feeling okay and is healthy. So when you see a seal that is sick, they might have, eyes that don't look too good. They might be crusted. They might be lethargic on their side, not moving a lot, not responding to you. And so what we always recommend is that people give us a call. Our hotline number I can put up so that you guys can see it here. So our hotline number is a great resource for folks to call so that they're able to to just ask questions. You can call us when you find a seal. You can call us to report a stranding, and we will go out with one of our volunteers and one of our staff members and check them out. Alrighty, let's see. Are seals aggressive with humans? Yes, absolutely. So seals, like you saw the one in the video that was being handled by our staff, they're flopping around, their mouth is open, they are trying to bite, trying to attack the person that they think is attacking them. So seals are excellent predators, but they are still prey to large predators in the ocean like sharks. So they still, when they're faced with an animal that's big, that's kind of coming at them, they're going to respond like any animal that feels threatened. So they have big, scary teeth, and you can tell in that video with our rescuers, they're wearing big leather gloves. They're using a towel to kind of control that seal, to keep their head covered so that, you know, they can't see, that they might calm down a little bit. So yes, absolutely, seals will be very aggressive with people, and this is why there's actually a recommendation that you stay away from seals on the beach up to 150 feet, which is pretty far, pretty distant, but it is to keep everybody safe. So 150 feet, staying away from any seal pups or adults on the beach. They'll let you know. They'll start growling quite a bit. A lot of times, if a beach is very busy, a seal will not choose to rest there. Busy as in busy with people. So any other questions? We have plenty of time for lots of questions. So if you have any, if you're curious at all about any of our seals, our rescue, I'd be happy to answer them. Again, most of the cases that we receive are seals. So seals make up a huge proportion of the work that we do. Most of the animals that we transport are seals because they are small enough to transport. If we had a whale wash up, that would take lots of trucks and things like that. So most of the calls that we get are about our seals. And we have been, you know, working as a marine mammal rescue for the last 8 years or so. And in that time, we've responded to thousands of cases. So lots of really interesting things that we see up and down the coast, because these beaches here are so highly trafficked. We have lots of people here every year. We do actually get lots and lots of calls. If the beaches are a little bit quieter, we actually don't receive so many calls. So actually during COVID, we didn't get as many calls as we are used to, because the beaches were quieter. People weren't going out as much. The summertime wasn't as busy here. So we actually had a slower year, which is interesting. Alrighty. Thank you guys so much. Unless anyone has any other questions, I will sign off. But thank you again so much for tuning in. We really appreciate your support. If anyone requires any other information about our marine mammal rescue team, please feel free to email us here at the Seacoast Science Center. Thank you guys so much. This video will be available on YouTube for a short amount of time afterwards. So if you need to go back and rewatch anything, you are able to. But thank you so much. We look forward to seeing everyone again this afternoon. So thank you guys. Thank you. All right.